Hey everyone, it's Shang from Team Robo Video Games, and today I would like to bring to you guys my semifinal set from our recent VGC 11 tournament that we just held over the weekend, actually. This tournament was interesting because we implemented VGC 11 rules, but had to play on the XY cards. The Kalos native rule was also not implemented, meaning that we could use Pokemon that we bred and banked over from Black-White or Black-White and 2. This had some interesting impacts on the metagame because we were able to use Genies, their Therian forms, as well as Pokemon that knew Move Tutor moves from Black-White 2. In addition to that, something's different from the VGC 11 metagame is the introduction of a few new Pokemon with new abilities, new typings, and some new forms as well. Of course, we have the Therian forms of the Genies. We have Defiant, Tournies Incarnate, Sheer Force, Slendoris Incarnate, Shadow Tag Gothitelle, and interestingly enough, Whimsicott being the only Fairy type in VGC 11, and therefore the only Pokemon that gets Stab Moonblast. So I was actually expecting offensive Whimsicott with Moonblast to be quite a popular choice. And we will see how this plays out in both my semifinals and my final set. In my semifinals, I played against Yoko. She had a team of Whimsicott, Musharna, Scrafty, Escavalier, Golurk, and Chandelier. We see the Whimsicott straight away, but I was more focused on the fact that her team seemed more of a hard-up Trick Room team with the Musharna and the Chandelier to set up Trick Room, and even maybe the Whimsicott could have been a surprise Trick Room set. I played against her in the last round of Swiss, actually, so I gained quite a lot of important information from her team then. I found out that her Musharna could use Swagger, and to boost her Golurk's attack, because her Golurk was a Lumberry Golurk, her Scrafty was a Rocky Helmet Scrafty, and her Chandelier was Life Orbed. I actually took that match mainly because her Swagger actually missed her own Golurk on the turn it switched in, so it wasn't able to deal enough damage to take advantage of the Trick Room turns, and so I managed to close out the match after stalling out the Trick Room. I actually have a pretty good matchup against Trick Room, considering that I do have Bisharp and Conkeldurr. As well as I was using a bulky Rage Powder Volcarona, so I would be able to redirect Scrafty's Drain Punch away from Bisharp, which is actually more or less her only Pokemon that does threaten my Bisharp. So I knew that if I could either, one, prevent Trick Room from setting up, or two, play my Bisharp smartly, that I should have a pretty good chance of closing out this best of 3. And so yeah, let's see how the match goes. So going into game 1, I knew straight away that I wanted to lead with Bisharp because not only does she have the Musharna, the Golurk, and the Chandelier, which are weak to Bisharp's Stab, Assurance, and Sucker Punch, she also has a Scrafty, which has a chance of triggering off my Defiant. She goes for the Whimsicott lead actually, and goes straight off with a Moonblast onto Bisharp. But I don't really mind that because I know I have the Focus Sash, I know that I can tank one hit at least, but I do get the Defiant boost from the Moonblast special attack drop, which is pretty fortunate, but it doesn't really matter because I do go for the Bug Buzz Assurance play on the Chandelier here, not wanting to give any opportunities for Chandelier to set up Trick Room. So I do get that KO, and I'm quite pleased with that actually because one of her main Trick Roomers is down. So I'm keeping with my game plan of trying to prevent her from setting up Trick Room. Here, Scrafty comes in, furthering my attack boost with that Intimidate, triggering my Defiant again. I go with the Protect here on the Bisharp, the safe play, not wanting to feint to a Fake Out by over predicting. But she actually does go for the Fake Out onto the Volcarona here, which I really don't mind because I know I have the chance of setting off the Flame Body, and it does proc burning the Scrafty, and I know Scrafty's pretty dead weight from here. It it doesn't have naturally high attack to begin with, and so it won't be doing much damage from now on. The next turn I actually misplay, and as you can see, I forget that Whimsicott actually has that grass typing, and that I can't redirect it's a Moonblast with Rage Powder, and so I kind of lose Bisharp a bit unnecessarily here. I probably should have just switched out, actually, or not have switched out because of what I had in the back, but just gone for the Sucker Punch onto the Scrafty to get some chip damage, and probably and overheat the Whimsicott. But I do acknowledge that was a misplay. I do make that misplay again in the finals, but it's okay. I needed to calm myself down here, so I bring a Terrakion to threaten both the Scrafty and the Whimsicott. She predicts the close combat, but I actually revealed the Poison Jab, which I didn't use in game 1 because she didn't bring Whimsicott. It's actually a tech move that I decided on to specifically to handle Whimsicott and possible Verzions. And so that nets me to surprise KO, as well as revealing that her Whimsicott is not Focus Sash. Bug Buzz does go off, meant for the Scrafty, and gets a nice chip damage off on the Golurk. Scrafty comes back in and gets intimidated off on the Terrakion. Since I'm Scarfed, I know I don't really want to stick around. Possibly taking a fake out Earthquake from the Golurk. So I send in my Terrakion, my Conkeldurr, and go for the Protect with the Volcarona, trying to prevent any damage being done to Volcarona this turn. Actually, the fake out goes back onto the Volcarona, and the Shadow Punch comes off onto the Conkeldurr, but Conkeldurr takes that like a boss with its naturally high HP and defenses. So here I predict that she will protect the Golurk because that is her key to victory here, and actually just go for the straight Drain Punch onto the Scrafty. I do Rage Powder away the Drain Punch, not wanting to take any damage, unnecessary damage from my Conkeldurr because it is a pretty big offensive powerhouse that does threaten her team as well with the super effective knockoff, as well as trying to prevent her, deter her from setting up Trick Room. So I do make that call correctly. She does protect Golurk, and I do get the Drain Punch. The Scrafty does reveal Rocky Helmet, which I already knew, but I did need to get that KO. And here on out, it's 3-on-1 versus the Golurk, and I know I can just keep Rage Powdering away, but she does go for the Earthquake, predicting the Rage Powder to get some chip damage off. But I close out the game with a super effective Ice Punch, super effective Iron Fist Ice Punch onto the Golurk, which closes out game 1 for me. So a pretty convincing win. I stuck to my game plan and took out the Chandelier game 1. And that pretty much prevented her from sending out Trick Room from the end, which meant that most of my Pokemon could outspeed and outdamage hers, as long as I did take out the Whimsicott with the Scarf Poison Jab. Obviously, the set isn't over yet, and I can't get overconfident, but I know that as long as I play my Bisharp more carefully next game, as well as check that Whimsicott with my Tri-Scarf Terrakion, that I shouldn't have too many problems. So, knowing that, let's move on to the next game.